Welcome to the FasCat podcast. I'm your host, Frank Overton. Some call me the Big Cat, and I'm joined by Jackson Long.
A.K.A. Brandon Stark.
Brand Stark. I finished up season 7 last night.
Wow.
Pretty awesome.
So now, so season 8's the last season, right?
I said season 7.
I know, but so you're on to the last final season, right?
Yep, I'll hit that tonight.
How do you feel?
I feel good about it. It's been very good. I like it a lot. I have recommended Game of Thrones to many athletes in the last 6 weeks as good. They train and all that. Good story.
Yeah, I think it's a good mindless show. It's nothing like
right.
You know,
it helps me relax. I like to kind of just zone out before I go to bed. I can feel my neurotransmitters shutting down.
All those White Walker killings and.
I know it doesn't faze you after a while.
You get pretty numb to the violence.
You get numb, yeah, sadly. But as we were mentioning on the YouTube live podcast, we are doing a special Coaches Buyer's Guide podcast today. And we are here at Excel Sports in Boulder, Colorado, excelsports.com. And we're talking about all the products that our athletes ask us about all the time. What do you think about this product? Should I buy a Garmin or a Bolt? Which one do you use? What about this new popular gizmo?
What tires should I use for the Crusher?
Yeah. I've got a bike trip coming up. What bike case should I buy? Recovery boots, power meter. We're gonna get into that all, and we have a lot of. The reason why we're at Excel Sports is because.
They've got it all.
And we're going to give away a Wahoo Bolt at the end of the show.
Yeah. So details on that. Basically what we're going to do is at some point during the live broadcast on YouTube, we're going to ask a question. And you have to be in the live stream and answer the question in the comments during the live stream to be counted into the drawing, essentially. And so at the end of the YouTube stream, we're going to choose at random someone who answered the question. So you basically just have to stick around, make sure that you're listening, paying attention. Mm-hmm. And when we ask a question to you, we'll make it very obvious when we're announcing the prize and the question. Just throw your answer in there. And at the end, like I said, we'll choose at random the winner. One of these.
Wahoo Bolt. It's a $250 value.
Yeah.
This is what I personally use.
Same here.
And I love it. They're very good. And we'll tell you why here in a moment.
So just heads up on that. And then, what else? Any other announcements before we get into...
Yeah, we have a few announcements. We're going to go through a variety of price points. We don't want to talk about, something that's just $1,000 and, leave out the people that only have $50. So we're going to break it up into 5 price points today. We're going to do $50, $100, $200, $500, and $1,000. And if all of those are too expensive, you can buy this t-shirt right here, #FTFP for $24 from the FasCat website. And it's a very nice t-shirt, and my 15-year-old will have some work to do. And thank you to everyone who's bought a t-shirt already. And send us, tag us on social media with you up on the podium with your FTFP t-shirt.
Cool.
Yeah. So back to the announcements. A lot of people, since we last podcasted, FasCat athlete and ambassador Phil had a really bad crash, and a lot of people have asked me about him. And the good news, he's in great spirits. I talked to him over the weekend, and he's cracking jokes. Same wit. He's already talking about his comeback plan. He wants me to design a comeback plan for him, and he wants to sell it for us and all that stuff. So that's just classic Phil. All is well. He's got a rough road ahead of him. He broke 9 bones.
And we know exactly what happened? Is there...
I didn't want to ask him, and I don't entirely know he should. I'm sure he knows, but I didn't really want to talk about it with him because I didn't want to bring up bad stuff. But he was hurting really bad, and he, you've probably, he's put it out there on social media. That's just incredibly brave.
Yeah.
But what was the kind of crappy part is he flew his camera crew all the way to the track, for his worst retirement ever show, and they're all out there, and then he crashes in the first race or something, and so they're using the film crew to basically, film what happened in the hospital, and he had to go from a hospital in Pennsylvania to a better hospital in New York City.
Oh wow!
And he had to do that on his own, and he said, like, his mom came.
Oh wow!
And so they did like a jailbreak from the hospital, and when that happened, he wasn't able to use the painkillers that helped him the most. They're like the IV stuff.
Right.
So he said that was the worst day of his life. But the reason why I want to mention it is he's in good spirits, and if you want to support him, go to No Kid Hungry. His goal is to raise $100,000, and every dollar for No Kid Hungry, I believe, provides 10 meals to a kid that otherwise wouldn't have anything to eat. So
that's a great $25 price point.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Before we even start.
Competing with our T-shirt. Yeah. I would rather y'all go buy the No Kid Hungry.
That $25 goes a long way for something like that. So
yes,
that's great.
So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
First and foremost, if you can see behind us, this is we're doing the $50 price point first. And so for $50, if you want to buy something to help you get faster, of course, the whole reason for this podcast is our 6-week, $49 training plans. You get a free premium Training Peaks account. You get a Yoga Glow 60-day membership.
We even have a Steamboat Gravel one.
Steamboat Gravel.
Cross is coming.
Cross, road, mountain bike.
Yeah.
If scroll up to the top there, Jackson, if you look at the choose your discipline and then your focus, say you want to look at gravel plans, click that. And then say you want to do a gravel race. You want to see if our website has a particular race. Look at there. Crusher and the Tusher, Steamboat, the Roubaix, and Old Man Winter. And then if you don't see the race that for a specific race that you're doing, our gravel grinder plan is our go-to plan, which brings us to our review of the week. Because Brett used the gravel grinder to do a sub 14-hour DK 2000 a few weeks ago, and here was his review. The plans were perfect to getting us ready. It was a great day out, very hard, but finished strong and satisfied. Thanks to all at FasCat for the plans, especially the sweet spot, the intervals. The gravel grinder prepared us superbly. Congrats, Brett, and good luck with your gravel in-season plan, because I think Brett is moving on to do Steamboat Gravel. Ooh. And he's doing our in-season plan, which is a plan that you want to do when you're not necessarily building up for your first gravel race, but it's one you do after like a BWR or a DK. And Brett had also previously done our sweet spots 2 and 3 and gravel grinder plan. So that is our review of the week.
How does a guy with such a baby face get such a deep voice? I don't know if I should take that as a compliment or
because he's Bran Stark.
Yeah, I mean, have you met Bran? Like he's a baby face, but he's the wisest man in all of Westeros.
That's right. So if you want to buy something, $50, boom, plans.
Right. I think like before you even start getting into gear and all this stuff, the training is what really matters for going fast. I mean, it's really all about. I mean, obviously you need to have a bike first and foremost to be able to train, but I think a lot of people want to obsess about the gear and which Garmin should I use and which kind of power meter and which carbon wheels do I buy, but then they're like, oh, I'm not going to like pay for coaching or pay for, a structured training plan because it just doesn't, it's not as tangible as like buying a shiny new gizmo or gadget.
Right.
But really it's actually more impactful. It's going to actually get you faster.
Right. I mean, the whole reason why we came up with our training plans in the first place is for athletes that maybe didn't want to pay for coaching. They maybe couldn't afford coaching. They needed to spend their money on entry fees and travel to the races. And so, the $49 plans were designed for budget-minded athletes. And because we have 100% a money-back guarantee, it's like you got nothing to lose. And we'll give a refund to anyone that asks it. No questions asked.
Cool.
For if you've already got a plan or something like that, what else can you buy for $50? Well, the GU Roctane. And for all of you loyal podcast listeners, this is a $37 24 serving canister of GU Roctane. For all the faithful listeners, and remember in our What to Eat and Drink During Your Ride podcast, we were talking about getting calories from gels, blocks, bars, but then also getting it from your hydration. And one of the things that I like the most about the GU Roctane, this is the Ultra Endurance formula, is it's got 250 calories per serving. So in one bottle, 250 calories. And so, that's compared to like 80 calories from like Scratch. And Scratch is great, and we love that. But when you're doing a 5-hour 300 TSS gravel simulation ride or long race or something, and you're going to be challenged to get in a lot of calories, the GU Roctane is a great product. And you, of course, can buy that here at Excel Sports.
Wahoo Ticker.
Yeah.
Do you want to mention that?
Yeah. So a lot of people are like, I can't afford a power meter. But how can I buy your plans? And the answer is, of course, just get a heart rate monitor. For $49, you can get a Wahoo Ticker heart rate monitor. I do believe it's Bluetooth compatible. It'll sync to your Garmin or your Bolt or Stages. And heart rate based training is very, very good.
Legit.
It's legit. I remember buying my first heart rate monitor back in the 90s.
Me too. My first ever heart rate monitor was actually one of those Polar watches that had the mount for the handlebars.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had that too.
Heck yeah.
And it was like this big around because it had this foam thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I would take it off my handlebar and wear it on my wrist.
It's dual purpose.
It was with me
multifunctional.
24/7, 365. The good old days.
Good old days.
But also Jackson came up with a great idea that other things you can do for $50 to make you fast are,
I'd say, a shopping spree at your local Whole Foods or other health food store. I think, again, obviously I'm kind of the nutrition guy, and it's I think often too like underrated or underappreciated the power of good food, and it's again easy to just focus on all this gear, but what you put in your body is going to have a massive impact, especially consistently over the course of years, months and years. And so, take that $50, go a little wild in the produce section, get some arugula, the cabbage, the beets, the avocados, and all the stuff that we talk about in Winning in the Kitchen. I think that obviously $50, is the Whole Foods or shopping for food can be spread across any of these price points, of course.
massage,
but new hack is the Amazon Prime delivery, Prime Now.
Yes.
So you could get your huge Whole Foods grocery haul ordered online, delivered to you within 2 hours. I just did it for my first time.
It's a game changer.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I was like, I was like editing podcasts and doing work while someone else was shopping for me.
Yeah.
And delivered it to my house.
It's the world we live in. Yes.
It's craziness.
I will say this. any nutrition that you want to spend on yourself is good. Like I dropped $20 at the farmer's market last night, picked up my rocket lettuce.
A box from the feed, or farmer's market. I think it's a great like thing to kind of like self care. You know, it's like it's a treat to be able to eat well go get a nice meal out. You know, at like a nice restaurant that's healthy. You know, and I think that's huge.
It's money well spent.
For sure. Your
health is worth it. So, moving on.
Well, you also mentioned Spotify Premium. Did you want
to... what is Spotify Premium these days? Is it like $19, something?
Yeah, maybe like $15 a month or something. I don't know.
I was talking with another riding friend. He's like, if there's one thing if I could only do one thing for my bike riding and training, it would be Spotify Premium.
Or like Audible, if you like audiobooks, you know, you could listen. I know a lot of people listen to audiobooks or the FasCat podcast.
Of course. And, you know,
That's free.
It is free. This is free. You know, a lot of the reason why I mention it is because to get faster, you just got to put time in the saddle. And there's going to be a lot of times where you need to just get it done. And you may not be that motivated.
Yeah.
And having a killer playlist will get you out the door. I'll sometimes put it on as I'm leaving the house because I don't like to fiddle with it. And then it's next thing you know, you're listening to great tunes, you're jamming, you're charged up, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, for a long Zone 2 ride, nothing like queuing up a podcast playlist. You got a new podcast.
There's plenty of Brand Stark on the internet to listen to.
Yeah. And same thing for Audible and everything.
Chad Fisher mentions another $50 foam roller. Get like some recovery tools. You can get like those trigger point foam rollers that are really nice. You know, a couple lacrosse balls. I think that goes a long way too. Yoga mat.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. There's so many things that you can, spend money on. But we did want to narrow it down, so we just didn't go hog wild.
There's so much to talk about. So maybe we should move on to the $100.
Sounds good to me.
Cool.
One of the biggest questions we get is what tires should I run for such and such gravel race? And for the Crusher, we've podcasted, we've got a YouTube video about that. You know, Steamboat Gravel is coming up. And so one of the things that we recommend the most for the Crusher is the Donnelly MSO, 36 millimeter. This is tubeless ready. This is a nice wide tire. It's going to have high volume, a lot of air in there, so you can run 40 psi, absorb the bumps. Because it's
good
tubeless
tread.
ready, there's nothing to flat. This is a good tread for Steamboat Gravel. Now, a tire like this is, you know, these days gravel racing each course is specific. So you would not want to run this for like a dirty Kansas.
No.
This is just not enough beef. You know, you need I think 38 millimeter was the going width this year. And if you were really worried about it, do like a 40. But this is a great tire for the Crusher and the Tusher. Probably also for the Steamboat Gravel.
Still pretty light, you know, not too crazy heavy.
It's not that heavy. This is $70 essentially.
Yeah, that's $58 on sale right now.
Hey, look at that!
So you could get two of them for just over $100.
Yeah,
so that's a pretty good deal, you know.
Get some stands or orange seal them up, and you're good.
I also like the Panaracer Gravel Kings. We've talked about those before. They just came out with a new one, the SK Plus, which is just like a little bit beefier. So,
newsflash: I just ordered a pair of 32 millimeter Gravel King SKs.
Whoa.
Yes, sir.
Whoa.
Fits in my road bike, and it's essentially I'm gonna take it up to Steamboat Springs and ride it on the Steamboat course. But 32 millimeter essentially makes my road bike my gravel bike. The only question is, will I flat or will I not flat? So I'm going up there. It's raining in Colorado this weekend. So I'm going to put the brakes on the trip this weekend, but maybe next weekend.
But yeah, I'd say anywhere in that for gravel stuff, anywhere in that range of like 32 to 38 mil is like the sweet spot for probably the vast majority of these more popular gravel races, excluding like DK or, you know, some of these more like gnarly off-road things. But Crusher, Steamboat, Lost and Found, Old Man Winter here in Colorado. I mean,
people from outside of Colorado call it Colorado gravel.
Yeah.
And they, in a condescending way.
Yeah.
Like when people do
like
the dirty Kansas
buttery,
with like
smooth
the flint, they're
sharp
like,
glass.
this ain't no Colorado gravel. It's been. Before we move on away from tires, one of the things I want to mention, in cyclocross, we often talk about tubulars are probably the single greatest performance product you can buy to elevate your cyclocross game. And Donnelly makes some great cyclocross tubulars. That's what I use. The PDX, the LAS, the MXP. Really good, affordable cyclocross tubular. You can get a pair for under $200. They're tubulars. And, if you're out there in podcast land and you're hearing about tubulars, you may know like Dugast, FMB. My recommendation is if you're coming off of tubes, just go straight to Donnelly. They are durable. They have sidewall protection, and you're not going to flat. The Dugast and the FMBs are sick tubulars. They're about $200 each. They're handmade.
Yeah.
They have cotton casings, and what that means on a cyclocross course is when you roll over anything but mud, like a rock, an edge, landscape edging, those cotton casings compress and they brush up against the rock. And honestly, the 2 times I went Dugast and FMB, I flatted them right away.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like $400 down the toilet. But with the Donnellys, money all the time. I have never flatted a Donnelly in a Colorado cyclocross race.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just that they're just way more durable. They're not as supple, but you got to be like Sven Ness to really notice the difference.
And they get unlimited tires probably.
Totally.
So.
Yeah.
And just a quick reminder for people that are kind of just starting to tune back into the podcast. We're doing a live giveaway of a Wahoo Bolt. We're going to ask a question here at some point soon. So stay tuned. Put your answer in, and we'll choose one at random. So moving on, gravel hydration. We talked about this in the gravel.
Do you want to put this on?
Yeah, I should put it on, actually. Yeah. It's pretty sweet. Let's see if I can do it.
I think we were talking about this in one of our previous podcasts. We were talking about, this is the gravel simulation ride. And when you do these 5-hour, 6-hour gravel simulation rides, not only are you, there's the physiological training, there's also the dress rehearsal for your hydration every 30 minutes, gels, blocks, bars. looking good. But then there's also hydration. Yeah. And for the loyal listeners, you can bring everything with you. Look at your pockets.
Yeah, you got some mad space for gels and bananas.
Totally.
A little knife if you need it.
Your Bowie knife?
Yeah, my Bowie knife. There's like a huge thing in here. And it's really easy to just unhook this, go straight in.
Put that in your mouth, and you can put, this is...
I'm not going to put this in my mouth.
Okay. You hear us talking about... You hear us talk about one-handed nutrition and two-handed nutrition. This is no-handed hydration. You can
probably
have
set it up to hook it in here or something, and then you could just have it right there. You're riding, and
so on rough terrain when you don't feel confident taking your hand off the bar to reach down and grab a water bottle, you just put that nozzle in your mouth, and you just keep chugging right along. I cut my teeth cross-country racing using a Camelback. I loved them. I would Camelback every single cross-country race.
Yeah, I mean, I recently watched the EF recap video of the Dirty Kansan. I think one of those guys had one of these on.
I believe this is like
But I saw a ton of people with these
Allison
vests.
Tetrick uses this.
And I think this is super customizable, so the fit, you can make it super comfortable. And I mean, look at all the people in, these ultra runners wear these things, in these super long races, and they can carry a bunch of extra food and water. And so it's kind of a no-brainer for something like the DK. Probably not necessary for the Crusher. It's only 70 miles.
The feed zones are so good in the Crusher, you can just take a hand up.
But I might consider picking this up for
all the running you've been doing.
Well, the running and the Steamboat Gravel.
I think so, yeah.
It's going to be hot out there.
Because remember when we did the Steamboat Gravel podcast, we were talking about their limited number of feed zones. It's gonna be a long time in between the feed zones, and you don't necessarily want to rely on 2 bottles. This is a 50-ounce reservoir, which is essentially 4 16-ounce water bottles. So when you do a race like Steamboat Gravel that, let's say it takes you 8 hours, you may want to have a replacement reservoir waiting for you in the feed zone. And then you're going to have 100 ounces of hydration. You may even want more, but there's no reason why you can have this with you, but you can also use bottles. So you're getting your hydration from multiple points.
I think I'm
logistics.
sold, actually. This is super comfortable. I'm just going to wear this the rest of the podcast.
I was one of the original Camelback things, and they had these like really thin straps, and it was long, and it poked out.
It would like smack you in the back. This feels like it would stay sturdy even when it's full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the best thing about this is this right here for your snacks, because when you wear a hydration vest, you kind of cover up your back pockets.
I think you could still get into your pockets. Let's see. Like, if you're like back here, you get in there.
And you also there's like right there for, that's where you're going to put your CO2 cartridges, your plugs, your pump, and you can carry a lot of gear there. So that's the Camelback Chase, and I believe that is $70.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Worthwhile investment.
Okay, we talked about tubulars, base layers.
Yes. So successful bike racers get up in the morning and they get their training in the morning before they go to work. And even here in Colorado, it's a little bit chilly in the morning. And a base layer is a $70 Castelli Core Mesh. This is only $40, and it's a tank top. And what you do, it's mesh, and it's very, very thin, and you're gonna wear it even in the summertime. And it's probably it's see through. But what happens here is this wicks the sweat away from your skin. And so when it's 55 degrees, 60 degrees, it wicks that sweat away, and it keeps you dry, and then you don't get a chill.
I pretty much never ride without base layers these days.
Really?
Yeah.
I also, remember the Rafa base layer you sold me?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah. It is my go-to.
Was it the Merino mesh one or the Pro Team?
It's the all black, so I think that's the Pro Team.
Yeah.
And it was about $70, and I liked it so much I went back and I bought another one. And then I also went and bought the merino wool, the t-shirt in the winter. And that's my go-to summertime. And then like if it's more than 50 degrees, that's my go-to.
Yeah, and then there's like a thermal base layer.
I know, I wound up buying that too.
Yeah. So these are obviously pricey, but they last forever.
They're really good. The merino wool it's so comfy. I wear it around the house.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice.
Like by the fireside.
Yeah. Sipping your bubbly water.
That's right. So that's this was 40. The Rafa is that.
I mean, kind of on that same topic. I mean, just good kit in general. I mean, whether you're on a team or not, good pair of bib shorts. It's well worth the. I mean, you're getting up in the $250 price point there, especially with Rafa. But like, a good pair of bibs is essential for comfort. Obviously, I mean, that's like the thing between your saddle and
get the chamois cream. Splurge for it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to have good, good rain jacket. a good vest,
Vest.
you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to be riding 5-6 times a week, 52 weeks. You can do the math and you can rationalize that price point down to pretty low per day. So now we're still on our $100 price point, and you've heard us talk about these simulation rides, gravel simulation. You know, you're testing out your physiology, your hydration, nutrition, and you're also putting your bike to the test. And in order to put your bike to the test, you got to win in the garage.
Yeah.
And in order to win in the garage,
this is a good place to start, honestly. If you don't have nothing, if you have no, you just have a hose. You need a hose, but this is $70, and you get bike cleaner, bike protect, claw brush, detailing brush, washing brush,
the brushes,
tons of brushes and sponges, and it all comes in this little thing. You can see it's got a bunch of stuff, and as we always say, a clean bike is a fast bike and a happy bike.
And that's where winning in the kitchen came from, is winning in the garage. And Muck-Off was a sponsor of the Oat Route, and I think I bought that same bucket from here at Excel probably like 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, nice.
Love it.
Okay.
What are we moving on to now?
$250 price point.
Aha. Oh, this is a big category.
Yeah.
This is the Garmin versus Wahoo category. And let me preface this by saying they both are awesome. And, it's kind of become like a Ford, Chevy, PC, Mac, thing with everyone. Lots of people love both, and for good reason. They're great devices. I remember my first Garmin. This is pre-Strava, I do believe, but
because there's more than just Garmin. There's more than just Wahoo. It's like there's
the Stages dash.
I got the Stages.
Oh yeah.
The Stages dash. This is a new version they just came out with.
It's a Boulder, Colorado company.
Yeah, we got Garmin, new Garmin 530, which I used the 520 for a while.
Yeah.
But I recently switched to the Bolt this past year.
And here's the Bolt, and this is $250. What's the 530? I do believe it's
probably the same.
Teeny bit.
$299. And then the dash is $250 as well.
Yeah. And so I have athletes that use both, all three, and I feel like looking at their comments day after day, you see what goes wrong and what goes right. One of the things I like about the Bolt is just the app interface, and nowadays, you can go straight from your computer here, you press stop, the data goes to your phone with the app, and then the phone's going to push this up to the desktop in Training Peaks. And believe it or not, it's kind of Big Brother. Like when I get an email notification from an athlete, that's when they've stepped off their bike.
Yeah.
So in the afternoon, I start getting a lot of email notifications, and also in the morning, and I can tell what time they rode. The point is, gone are the days where you plug these things into your computer and USB, and you have to upload and right click and drag and drop to the things. But I just have, over the last 4 years, to just become a Wahoo guy.
They're just pretty simple to use. I find the interface really clean and simple, and like you said, you can set up all the screens on your app, just get it all dialed. It works well. I also just like, it doesn't have a color screen, the Bolt, but it just is, it's clean and it's easy to read. There's no issues. It's hard to see with the screen, but But anyway, I think everyone, it's like, it's like, do you have a Toyota or do you like a Honda? It's like, it's just kind of to each their own, but that's why it's cool to have a lot of different options on the market.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing I like about my Wahoo Bolt is the app interface. And so, you've heard us talk about what the display screens. And so in the Wahoo app, you just go into the app and you choose the page you want to edit. And, you put in power, heart rate, cadence, normalized power. I want to see temperature. I want to see feet climbing. You just put that in your app with just one finger, and then poof, it's like just right there on the screen. There's no sub menus and things to bury in there. And I like that. It's easy. It's simple. It connects to my phone. I don't have to perform reboot Olympics to get it to sync.
Yeah. And then you can also go, I mean, we grabbed some of these other ones just to look at, but you can get the big dog, $700, the 1030 if you want like full on maps and navigation. I mean, there's probably a lot of crazy.
When we were doing our training camp in Mill Valley back in January, remember we potted about the personal training camp?
Yeah.
So one of the guys I was with had the 1030, and we were trying to navigate the route from our Bolts or our Garmin 520, and we couldn't do it. But Dr. Nathan had the Edge 1030, and he essentially became our rod leader because the Edge 1030 is for navigation. That's why it's bigger, so you can look at the screen.
I mean, it's basically an iPhone. Like, it's pretty massive.
Yeah, it's bigger. You wouldn't want to race with it or do a gravel event with it. But if you're riding in a new place and you want to know where to go, use Strava, use Ride with GPS, plan out your route, put it on your Edge 1030, and you will literally know turn-by-turn directions. It's really great. Dr. Nathan was like, he was our ride leader after that. And our computers, like, you're squinting at the screen. And, so we just followed Nathan.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll give a Wahoo Bolt away here pretty soon.
Yes.
So then what else? Whoop. Do we want to talk?
Yeah.
Want to hit Whoop?
Yeah. So recovery is
about
important. We podcasted with the Whoop people. The Whoop, when we originally did that, remember it was $500 originally?
Yeah.
Now the Whoop is $180, but it's a $30 a month subscription for using that app.
And they just released a new version of the Whoop
3.0.
strap, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently has a better strain metrics, and the app got a update. There is an alternative to the Whoop. I have two athletes that are using the Oura Ring, and that is just straight up $299. It comes with an app, but you don't need a subscription to use it. And that is more of a sleep tracker. You don't wear it 24/7, 365. The battery life it's a little bit different the way it works, but apparently from just talking with those two athletes, it's like a killer sleep tracker. Yeah, but it doesn't really do strain at all like the Whoop does.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options out there.
But I mean, those are just more ways to quantify your recovery, your training, how you're responding to stress and all of that. And so if you're
becoming more aware of your lifestyle and how that influences your performance.
Yep. On to 500. Getting up there.
Yeah. $500. Now we're talking power meters,
bike cases. Yeah. And I just put in here for fun, like an Instant Pot or a Vitamix, just more food related things.
Yeah.
I think a Vitamix, I mean,
yeah,
it seems like a lot of money up front because I mean, they're like $300 or $400 for a blender. But I use that thing every day. I mean, as I've talked about probably on the podcast, like my favorite kind of go-to recovery sort of meal is a huge smoothie with granola on top, and I just load it up with greens and all these different nuts and seeds and fruit, berries, turmeric. You can make these insane. I make like an ice cream version, so it's like less liquid, so it's kind of thick, and you just eat it with a spoon. I mean, you can go crazy. You can make soup in there. You can make sauces. I just think it's a really nice, useful tool, especially if you like food and cooking, and can enhance your food and nutrition and winning in the kitchen and all that. So
I agree. You know how you get like a new piece of bike equipment and then it makes that first few bike rides with it really awesome?
Yeah.
Same way in the kitchen. You get that new kitchen appliance.
New rice cooker.
I just got a Zojirushi rice cooker, and it makes making rice fun again.
Yeah, or like an Instant Pot. Like I also have one of these, and that thing's I think only like maybe $100, $200. it's like a pressure cooker, and you can make dried beans in like 40 minutes, or like, rice, any sort of grains. You can cook a bunch of stuff in it, super easy. And it just, over time, it's going to save you money because you can buy a lot of bulk, cheap grains and make really good food and meal prep. So you make a big thing of rice at the beginning of the week, eat that throughout the week. I just think, again, it's just another thing to enhance your recovery and your fueling on and off the bike.
If you're winning in the kitchen, you're going to be happy. So
Yeah.
can't put a price on happiness.
Maybe we should pull up the stages.
Yeah. So $500. Now we're getting down into like real power meters that actually work. And, one of the reasons I was excited for this podcast is because FasCat, we used to be a power meter retail dealer. And I got started in that in 2008 because same reason, people were asking me about power meters. Should they get one? Which one should they get? And finally, I was like, well, let me just help you get that. And, we turned that into a business, and we had a retail power meter shop. And then the prices came down because when I originally got into that, SRMs were $3,000.
That's insane.
That was for the crank only. And then you had to do another $1,000 for the computer head
Wow.
unit. But, like a lot of things, when it gets popular, when stages came out, they disrupted the market. All of a sudden, so you had SRM and Quark and PowerTap, and they were all well over $2,000, more or less. And then along came stages, and I think it was about $800 for a Dura stages in the beginning. And nowadays the prices come down even lower. You can get a 105 left crank arm stages that will enable you to train by power and send your coach data, or at very least upload it to Training Peaks to analyze your power, for like $269.
Wow.
So the price has come way down, and it's that, I think Stages, one of their slogans is the power meter for everyone.
Yeah. Well, and it's like any of these things. I mean, there's different levels. You can start there.
Yep.
If that's all you can afford, and then you can go to dual sided. You can go to Dura-Ace. You can get the whole shebang. So at this point, like you said, there's really no excuse to not train with power if you're serious about training. On
our forum the other day, we had an athlete who was stuck on heart rate based training, and none of our plans are heart rate based, they're zone based. In Training Peaks, you have to in the workout builder, when you do the workouts, with the bars, you have to choose heart rate or power, and we always choose power because that's what 98% of our athletes are on. But this athlete wanted a heart rate based plan, and I was explaining to him, hey, these plans are zone based, the workouts are exactly the same. And someone chimed in, just get a power meter and just be done with it.
Yeah.
It was a long thread, but for $269 you can get a Stages power meter and train with power. We have the Ultegra crank pulled up. This is a Shimano crank, and 3 years ago this was a Dura-Ace crank, and the way Shimano works is they trickle it down, and this is a really nice crank. It's stiff and it's accurate, and it costs $578. So that's a great value, and it gets you into training with power. And remember, for all of you people out there saying that's a lot of money, just remember SRM system was over $3,000, as recent as maybe 12, 14 years ago.
What do they cost now?
SRM has been forced to lower their price. I believe a Dura-Ace SRM, well, they don't even make that anymore, but the SRM is about $2,000. Don't quote me on that, give or take. To be honest, I think they need to lower their price a little more and try to deliver a better value. It's still, in my opinion, the best power meter.
Yeah.
But Stages is the best value.
Yeah. Travel cases, I think, are something to bring up for sure. I mean, it's racing season. There's races all over the country, and maybe you're going on a vacation overseas, or even just in the U.S. or wherever you are. And so you want to protect your bike if you want to bring it with you. And now, again, similar to the power meter market, there's been kind of an explosion in bike cases from the Oru case, the like Ninja bike case. I think that's probably around that $500 price point.
Your bike flies free if you use the Oru case.
Yep. There's the Evoc case. We pulled up, I think it's a little bit more expensive, but we pulled up the Sycon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's $1,000.
Yep. So now we're up in the $1,000 price point. Although travel cases, I bought the Evoke travel case, and I bought it earlier this year. It's a soft case, and it was $575.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Colorado Springs company. And the reason why I bought it is because two features. It has an internal frame, which you mount your front fork and your rear fork too. And it becomes stiff in there. And that changes the game for a soft case.
Yeah.
It has very nice wheel bag holders, and then you took these foam like rods and you slid it down in the case all over on both sides, and that stiffened it up and kind of made it stiffer. And it had this really nice handle and these two roller wheels in the back, so
you don't have to lug it around.
Right.
Yeah.
Going from the economy lot at DIA all the way to the counter check-in was not awful. It wasn't great. It wasn't awful. Yeah. But if you want the SRM of bike cases, if you want the Rolex, get the Sycon. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Sycon.
Aerotech Evolution.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons I like this the most is it's got four wheels, and I recently traveled through the airport with an athlete that had one, and he had this leash by his one finger towing it behind him.
That's recovery gains right there.
It's Airport Ninja, and I'm like huffing and puffing, dragging my bike. One thing about those Sycon cases, it's a hard shell. You won't bend your disc rotors. And one drawback, though, is it's going to be hard to fit a gravel bike in there.
Yeah. They're
kind of made for roadies. 28 millimeter tires are about the limit because it's super form fitting. Yeah. But a drawback to my Evoke case is that, as for the loyal listeners, is that if you remember my trip to Asheville for the route, I wasted 3 hours after we built up the bike fixing my disc brake rotors.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to take your disc brake rotors off, but I didn't because I'm not a good mechanic. And so if you do get a soft shell case like an Evoke one, take off your disc rotors. And if you don't want to and you have the ways and the means, there's your case.
I think it's time to give this thing away.
Okay.
Should we do it?
Let's do it.
So we're giving away the $250 Wahoo Element Bolt, which is obviously a really great cycling computer. We're both big fans of it, like we mentioned. And so essentially, if you're here on the YouTube live, unfortunately, this is just for the YouTube people, which should be a sign that you should come to our YouTubes more. We have a question for you. And so we'll ask this question. Put your answer in the comments below, and then at the very end of this broadcast, we will announce at random a winner.
Yes. Okay. So the question is, what is the theme of this podcast?
Why does this matter?
Why
does all of this stuff we're talking about matter? What is the common thread between all of these different products and this conversation? So put your question or your answers in to the comments, and
you'll be entered into a chance to win.
Exactly, you'll be entered into the drawing.
And to elaborate on that a little bit, like the theme of all these products, what do they have in common that we've been talking about? And if you've been listening to our podcast for a long time, you'll realize, maybe tie together what the purpose of this podcast is as a whole. And then also, if you're stuck, think about what we're not talking about. And that would probably give you a pretty big clue of the theme of this podcast.
And I'd say there's probably no wrong
Winning
answer.
in the pocketbook. That's a good one.
That is good.
But that's not quite it. Coaches love stuff. That's not it either. But we all do love stuff. I mean, this is a fun podcast. I mean, we're bike nerds just like you.
Look how nerdy this is.
He's got his Seinfeld man's ear here.
I'm walking out of this place with this thing. I'm not leaving without it.
I think you could probably get a discount.
I probably could.
Yeah.
I should probably ask them. Hey, I've already kind of like, worn it in.
This is some good comments. People are getting pretty close.
All right, let's continue on. To the $1,000 price point.
Okay, so we already talked about the Sciacon case that gets you up into $1,000. And if you remember our recovery podcast earlier this year or last year, we talked about recovery boots and Normatex. And so, it's sometimes, first of all, massage is wonderful. That's probably, after sleeping and eating, massage is probably the third best recovery technique. Yeah. But, if you don't want to spend, I think the going rate in Boulder is about $60 to $80, depending on who you go see.
Per hour.
Yeah. For like a really good sports specific.
For sure.
Like massage, like pro level. If you can't afford that, regularly. Also, one thing, we're talking about recovery boots here. One of the things that you'll gain from recovery boots is convenience. Yeah. Sometimes it's difficult to go from your ride to the massage place and schedule it and have it, on a Sunday afternoon. Whereas with recovery boots, it's like you come home, you eat, you shower, you get on the couch, you put your boots on, you take a nap while you're in your boots.
There's nothing better.
Good. It's really great.
And they used to be a lot different because now I think they've become so portable and small. Like the Normatex, and I'm sure with these, like you could fit them in a suitcase or a bike bag if you really wanted to bring them somewhere, or like we mentioned in our Traveling to Races podcast, especially if you're driving out, driving out to the Crusher or DK, like it's worth bringing them if you have them. And they're very portable. It's, your own personal masseuse coming with you to a certain extent. And yeah, like Frank said, there's nothing better than like getting home, getting in the shower while your food's cooking in your Instant Pot or your smoothie bowl
your Vitamix
is blending. Yeah. And then you just sit down and you put the boots on and you watch some, Netflix or something while you're
Game of Thrones.
Like that is just pro.
That's super recovery. That's, that's monk mode. Yeah,
and it
really
helps.
Pro.
It definitely helps that my roommate is sponsored by Normatex, so I have
for
access.
The listeners out there, tell everyone who your roommate is.
It's Tom's Scoinge he's on Trek. He's
Trek Segafredo.
Yeah, he's a good friend, and he's currently in France. He's in roommate. He's doing an altitude camp, hoping to make the
Where
tour
are they
team.
doing their altitude camp?
Somewhere in France. I'm not sure.
I didn't know you could in France. Most of them go to like Tenerife or Gran Canary.
Maybe I have no idea. Actually,
I bet you could maybe in the summertime. Yeah. It opens up like in
French
the Alps or the Pyrenees or something.
Somewhere up high. I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool.
But anyway, he has many pairs of Normatex, so I've had the pleasure of being able to use those.
For those of you who are just tuning in, not just tuning in, but are wondering what the heck we're talking about, recovery boots. So and we related those to massage. So in massage, a massage therapist with their hands work your muscles, right? And they're pushing your muscles down. But you have to understand your lymphatic system to understand why massage is so good. Your lymphatic system is, if you've seen the pictures of the man on the doctor's office and you see all the arteries and all the veins that go to all the, your feet and your toes and your fingers, you have a lymphatic system that works just like that. And it's all over your legs. And in your legs, nerd point though.
Yeah, we don't need to get too carried away.
Don't want to get too carried away. Arteries have valves which prevent the blood from going backwards, essentially, in your arteries. Your veins do not. And it relies on the pressure from your blood and the movement of your muscles to actually squeeze your veins to push that blood back to your heart. Okay? The lymphatic system has no such thing. and it just naturally drains. You can do it by putting your feet up the wall and let your lymphatic system drain that way. If you're super into it, you can bounce on it's called a rebound. Those mini trampolines, you sit there and you bounce. There's that. Or you get a massage, and the massage therapist, starts at your ankles and just works your muscles, helps flush out the byproduct, and then push that byproduct through your lymphatic system up your legs to be flushed out. And that's what makes massage really good. If you ever have a massage therapist that starts at your waist and goes down, that's the wrong way. So,
fun fact too, just nerd alert here. The athletes actually have better circulation and better ability to push all those waste products up naturally and just return venous blood to the heart because we have muscles. Because especially in your calves, but also in your quads, one of the mechanisms for pushing blood up is contracting muscles that squeeze against the arteries and veins to push the blood back up. And so that's one reason why athletes have, it's all connected. It's all like a pretty little cycle. But anyway, we digress.
So if you don't, if you're recovering and your muscles aren't contracting, they're not pushing that blood flow back, your lymphatic drainage back, what do? You get a massage, or you get these boots and you put your feet and your legs in these boots, and it's called a peristaltic pulse. Peristaltic pulse. And it squeezes. And I used a pair of rapid reboots last night, and it squeezes very hard. And for the people that haven't tried it, you know how you go get your blood pressure measured in the doctor's office? It's like that hard and then some. The rapid reboots go up to 200, and then what is the unit of measurement? Just
millimeters of mercury, I think.
Yeah, per Hg.
Yeah.
And it was tight. I mean, you kind of have to grimace a little bit, but it's short-lived. It's not like it just like squeezes you to death like a boa constrictor. It starts at your ankles, pushes up to your calves, past your knees, up your quad, and it releases, and it just it's a constant flow of pushing your that byproduct back up your legs. It feels really nice, and try it. And the two options that I know the most about, I've had a pair of Normatec since 2010. We used to keep them on the cheetah couch in the FasCat Performance Center, and we'd let athletes come in and sit in the boots for about 30 to 60 minutes. Nowadays, there's a more affordable option, the Rapid Reboot, and I used them last night, like I was saying. They're $300 cheaper than the Normatecs, and I was talking with the rep the other day, and he says they squeeze harder, so there's more pressure. So that's kind of the selling point there. Either one would be a game changer. And the benefit of having boots overall, if you're scoffing at the price, is that's going to be about 10 massages. But you can use your boots every day.
Yeah.
And so you take them with you to a race, you use them on Saturday and Sunday. You can use them 7 days a week. And then, you're going to rationalize this, down to a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I mean, Tom's uses his after every single ride that he comes back from, so
that's what I would do if I was pro.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
so if you want to
the pro life,
do the pro life, get a pair of recovery boots. And the Rapid Reboot people have awesome customer service. Yeah. You can call them up with any questions, and they'll
once
help
you try
out.
These things, I feel like once you try it, you're just like, God, I need a pair.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. I mean, it is a lot of money.
My Normatecs broke recently. We did have them for 10 years, and, over 250 people have sat in them, and they've seen a lot of hours, and the valves have broken right at the intake ports.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's just getting old, I guess. So I'm in the market, and, yeah.
Cool. Well, we're right at an hour. I think we covered everything we needed to.
How are our questions going? How's
everyone? We got some good answers.
Some good engagement. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
So, should we choose a winner?
Choose a winner?
So I guess,
Yeah.
what's the best way to do this? Maybe
Jackson's in charge here. I don't want to take responsibility
I'll just
for this.
close my eyes, I'll scroll through, and then just
put your finger on it.
Jason Engelke. I've totally butchered that. I'm sorry. I said
Engelke. You are the winner of the Wahoo Bolt, $250 value. So
his answer was value and quality.
That's right.
That's pretty much right on the money. I mean, basically the whole theme of this is like finding, it's finding products that are actually going to help you get faster.
Correct.
That's why we're not talking about, bikes and wheels necessarily, or kind of things like that. Like these are the smaller things that can really make a noticeable and quantifiable difference in long-term consistent performance. I mean, obviously carbon wheels are going to increase your speed by X, whatever, but something like a power meter or a bolt or even a bicycle cleaning kit, like that's something that's going to be really valuable and will be high quality and for the price that you pay. So
performance products
and winning in the pocketbook.
Winning in the pocketbook.
So Jason, send us an email. What email should he send it?
Send an email to help@fastcatcoaching.com. If you're a member of our forum already, go ahead and just say, hey, I won, and we'll email you the details to get you this bolt. We'll ship it out to you, and you'll be training, you'll be winning and training. But to get back to Jackson's point, we're not talking about pedals and wheels, bike frames,
water bottle cages.
Yeah. That, at the end of the day, we're talking about products that as a coach, we want you to use because we see that impacting your performance on a day-to-day basis, like how you're eating. And, we don't want you to train for 6 months and then flat at your gravel race, or have a mechanical because you didn't clean your bike, or get chilly and not have a good interval workout, things like that.
Yeah. So I'll try and put all of these products that we talked about in the show notes of this podcast, which will be on FasCat on the website. Just want to say a huge thank you to Excel Sports for hosting us today. We got the totally baller setup here.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked out excelsports.com, you should. That's where I basically buy all of my bike stuff because they have really great deals. It ships really quickly. Obviously, it's local for us.
I wish we had the catalog. Did you ever get the catalog?
I used to get the catalog when I was a little mini junior racing, and I looked through that.
The catalog,
great. Super nice.
Do they still
do it?
No, I don't think so because of just the internet. They have a great website, you guys. Anything and everything. Go to excelsports.com.
Tires, any of the stuff that we've talked about, and they were super gracious to give this away to one of you. And that's
Jason says he's currently on the trainer FTFPing. Good job, man.
Just overachiever.
Solid. Yeah. I guess people are on the trainer while they're listening to this.
Well, thanks for listening.
Really appreciate that. The podcast next week, we're working out the details, but this is what, let me just say, originally, before it was going to snow and rain in the mountains this weekend, I was going to go to Steamboat and ride the course and report back to you all. But I think that trip's going to get canceled. It's the
thunderstorming and snowing.
I checked the weather forecast at 8 a.m. Saturday morning. It's going to be 38 and raining, having also rained all day Friday.
This weekend?
Yeah, Saturday.
I was going to go camping this weekend, but I'm rethinking my plan because...
Yeah, not a good weekend here. And so it's also going to have rained all day tomorrow, and that's going to, the gravel's going to be muddy, and I can't ride 140 miles in mud, let alone in dry. So I'm going to rethink maybe the topic or figure out a new game plan. Stay tuned, subscribe.
And the forum will let you know.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody.
Cool. I'm going to go wear my vest around town.
I'm going to finish up season 8. Let you know how it goes.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Adios.